Madam President, would you like for me to go get Mr. Rolla or
Yes.
bring him?
Where is he?
Oh, excuse me.
He's just grabbing a water.
I'd like to call the study session to order on August 27th, 2019 at about 5:07 p.m.
It's a special meeting,
Huh? The exact,
special meeting.
are we going to do that one first? Okay. So the exact session on CRS 24-6-402, parentheses 4, parentheses B, legal advice, board to conference with an attorney for the purpose of receiving legal advice on specific matters. Can I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I move to proceed into executive session pursuant to the statutory citation identified by the chair.
May I have a second?
Madam Chair, I second.
Roll call, Monica.
Ms. Martinez?
Aye.
Mr. Moreno?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
Study session at 6:17 p.m. tonight. So, Dr. Patterson?
Good evening. Good evening, distinguished board members. Today I will be presenting,
A little louder.
okay. Yeah, it's on. Today I'll be presenting elementary literacy curriculum adoption process. In this presentation, we will review policy IG, which is the curriculum development process. You will see a timeline, a list of committee members who participated in the process, the checklist criteria to critique the resources, the curriculum resources and materials, the results and recommendation from the process, the purchasing process, and professional development that will be provided. In this process, we followed Board Policy IG. The curricular resources and materials shall be aligned with the Colorado academic standards, which ensures that every student have educational experience where all students will have access and opportunity to be exposed to grade level curricular materials, resources, assessments, and interventions. This adoption process was the recommendation of MGT, our lead partner. The goal was to get literacy curricular resources into the hands of teachers in grades 3 through 5 this fall. Last fall, we purchased curricular resources at the preschool and grades 2 level. We purchased and implemented Happily Ever After for preschool students and Super Kids for students in grades kindergarten, first, and second grade. Our goal is to purchase an aligned resource to ensure there are no gaps that may impede academic progress. We have had no other choice but to continue to provide aligned curriculum to support student learning. Here's the timeline for the process. In April, we were given the green light to start a process to review literacy curricular resources for grades 3-5. By mid-May, we were told to stop the process until our external lead partner joined us. So in mid-July, MGT was on board and gave us the go-ahead to move forward with an adoption process. Immediately, our team created regulations to review curricular resources, and an email was sent out to elementary principals to solicit for committee members. On August 1st, we had names of potential candidates. August 2nd, we were communicating to those committee members with the details of the process. And August 9th, we conducted a review process. Wonders was the recommended curricular resource. August 12th through the 16th, a notification for public review was posted on the district Facebook and a flyer app. We encouraged parents and community to come in and review the curriculum, and we also encouraged additional teachers as well. August 19th, Wonders was the recommended curriculum. An email was sent to principals as well as committee members, and I'm presenting tonight to the board for approval. These are the committee members. They consist of teachers in grades 3, 4, and 5, special education teachers. Those are teachers for students with special needs, biliteracy teachers, instructional coaches, a community member who was formerly a DAC member and who plans to attend this year, school administrators, district staff who oversee biliteracy and early literacy in the district, and Patty Montgomery, our MGT partner, and myself, who supported facilitation. During the process, we used a checklist. There are 5 components or 5 categories that we use to rate the curriculum. Instructional design, how instruction is designed, which accelerates learning, which we need because we know that 70% of our students are not reading at grade level, at the elementary level. Components of the program, there are 5 components of reading: phonemic awareness, fluency, phonics and word recognition, vocabulary and comprehension. Standards alignment, align with the Colorado academic standards or the Common Core. Assessments, scientifically based assessments support student progress in attaining mastery of learning. And engagement, how students and teachers interact with the curriculum and are engaged in learning. We looked at 4 curricular resources: Core Knowledge of Language Arts, CKLA by Amplify, Into Reading by Houghton Mifflin, Ready Generation by Pearson, Wonders by McGraw-Hill. All curricular provides a comprehensive core reading and writing program for grades K through 6. The resources, which include core instructional materials, intervention programming, and assessments. 3 of the curriculum, so 3 of the 4, provide Spanish or biliteracy version. CKLA by Amplify does not provide a Spanish version for bilingual students. Into Reading is not on the CDE approved curriculum list, which leads us not to be able to use this because we will not be able to use our READ Act funds, because to use our READ Act funds, you have to be on the approved CDE curriculum list. A team of 23 people broke into a team of 4 to 5 folks to review the resources for about 30 to 35 minutes each. They used the checklist to rate the curriculum. Once the curriculum was rated, we then counted up the points, and Wonders was our recommended curriculum. As you can see, the points, Wonders had 100.5 points, Into Reading had 64 points, Ready Generation had 58 points, and Amplified had 30 points. When this is approved tonight, we will expedite the purchasing process. So on the 28th, on tomorrow morning, when this is approved, we will push the button to the requisition, and hopefully it'll make it to Eddie's queue. And once he pushes that button, then an email will go out to elementary principals informing them of the approval of Wonders, and they will also inform their teachers. And then on September the 9th, McGraw-Hill has ensured that the materials will be delivered to the warehouse. And on the 16th of September, curricular materials will be in the hands of teachers. Our goal is to get these into the hands of teachers as soon as possible. As a matter of fact, a couple of teachers have already requested the Wonders display. So as soon as we're finished tonight and this has been approved, we will pass those on to those teachers who've asked for the display materials. And from September to October, we will walk through classrooms to gather feedback and information for teachers so that we will be able to share the experience with our Wonders trainers. On October 10th, our district-wide professional development day for all staff, McGraw-Hill will provide 6 trainers for teachers in grades 3, 4, and 5, and for K-1 bilingual teachers. Instructional paras, SPED teachers, instructional coaches, and school administrators will also be in the training. Wonders will train on the organization of the program, alignment to the standards, lesson structure and planning, assessment, student achievement, differentiation strategies, English language learners, effective teaching strategies. These all align with our district-wide focus this year, which is essential elements of instruction to plan for academic language, which supports literacy. So, the time is now to make this $500,000 purchase on our literacy program at the elementary level. We know that we are starting to see growth in literacy at this level as well. Here is what is most important. Curriculum will be aligned preschool through 5th grade in literacy. As I said before, everyone should learn how to read. When we make this purchase, our students will be exposed to grade level materials that are aligned with the Colorado academic standards, which we are misaligned right now because some schools are using different curriculum in grades 3-5. It is our obligation as a community and as a district that we provide the essential resources to support students in their learning. The fundamental skill that all students need is the skill to read. So we recommend that you approve this curricular resource tonight. This will be a decision that you will not regret. Thank you. Questions?
Is there any questions? Open to the board.
Go ahead, Laura.
Laura?
Thank you, Dr. Patterson. I have a couple of questions, please. First, what other district is using this literacy reading, please?
I can address that. Wonders is one of the curriculum that's approved through the READ Act, so it's a state-supported and recommended curriculum, though I don't know exactly how many districts. A high percentage of districts that do have curriculum are using one.
So you can't name one?
Can I name one? Yeah, let's see. Give me a second.
Here go my next question, please.
What was that?
While y'all trying to get that answer, I'm gonna give you my next question, please.
I can tell you several in another state, but I'll come up with one in
Another state?
Colorado.
Oh, okay, thank you. My next question is, how would this help the students in Adams 14? Because when I looked at the recent scores, I did see that we had an average at our elementary schools was a 47.2. But I'm trying to figure out, we know literacy is one of our biggest downfalls in this district. What makes this curriculum, literacy curriculum, so special that's going to help my students?
Excellent question. If we go back in a couple of slides to right here, actually, there's a set of 5 things that we look at when we look at a core reading program. The first one is, what's the design of the program? How is it laid out? Is the scope and sequence clear so that it builds from one particular part of reading instruction to the next over time? How is it laid out so at the end we know what the expectations are for students? So that's one of them. The second one is the components of the program. As Dr. Patterson spoke to, there's 6 essential programs to learning how to read: vocabulary, fluency, phonological awareness, phonemic awareness, and comprehension, and also oral language. All reading programs do not contain and do not explicitly teach those components. Wonders teaches all of those components. The next thing is, how is it aligned to our state standards? Clearly, we want something that makes sure that kids are learning the standards as we go along. There is very clear alignment to our state standards. They're outlined in every single lesson that the students participate in throughout the year. So we know that that exists. The next one is that assessment? There are assessments at the end of each unit for Wonders. Those assessments look very much like CMAS assessments. They mirror CMAS assessments. So students become used to answering questions based on what they're learning in a format that mirrors with our state assessment, so that by the end of the year, when they receive that state assessment, they're not surprised. Also, it can be done on the computer, the assessments, or paper pencil. The other nice thing about the assessments is that because those assessments are at the end of each unit and they're based on the standards that the student is learning, teachers can readily look to see, how are my students doing on those standards based on what I've taught them this week, and can go back and reteach if necessary. So those are the major components of why it's better than most programs.
I have one last question. For myself, I'm about achievement, not growth so much. I want a student to be reading in the grade level they are in.
Absolutely.
What makes this going to help my students read in the grade levels 3rd to 5th grade when they move to the next level?
Yes, good question. So a couple of things. Number one, the word accelerates is in one of our components. Teachers had to find how this was accelerating their growth. One of the ways that Wonders accelerates growth is by assuring repetitions in what they're teaching. That's one thing. So there's lots of repetitions so students have the opportunity to master and move along quickly to those grade level targets. The second thing is that it's got a built-in intervention, a tier 2 intervention called WonderWorks. That is aligned to what the students are learning about the standard. So even if you are somewhat below in reading, not tremendously below in reading, but about 1.5 years below in reading, you're still getting the same concepts, the same standards that kids at grade level are getting. So again, when you are exposed to that CMAS test, the better apt you are to perform at grade level if you've had grade level expectations all along the school year.
That's my questions.
Laura? I had a few, actually a lot. One question is there a reason why there's the committee list on the PowerPoint does not meet the superintendent's recommendation list? There's 3 members that are not on the recommendation, but they're on the PowerPoint. Is there a reason for that?
So we have made some changes to the, are you talking about the SUPREC?
Well, the committee. The committee.
Listed on where? On the SUPREC or on here?
The committee list on the PowerPoint does not match. There's 3 additional
Names.
that are not in the recommendation. Is there a reason why?
Those were just a mistake that were left off. This is the original list. These are all the names that I have from the list. We just didn't get the list corrected at that time.
And is there a specific reason why there wasn't any kindergarten and first grade teachers there?
Because this curriculum is for students in grades 3 through 5, but there is a 2nd grade teacher that did come and look at the curriculum as well.
But you're not going to be offering it in 2nd grade, right?
For this curriculum, no. We offer Super Kids at grade 2.
The reason it was important for us to have a 2nd grade person on the committee is they use Super Kids, and so we wanted to make sure that she was assured that there was alignment between our Super Kids program in 2nd grade and Wonders in 3rd grade.
My question is because if you're gonna, I'm so excited that you're gonna be doing Maravillas in kindergarten and first grade. However, I don't see any kindergarten and first grade biliteracy teachers evaluating the curriculum to make sure that it aligns with what they're supposed to be teaching.
Good evening, distinguished board. Eileen Harder, CLD department. Just wanted to let you know where I was coming from, but that's a great question, Ms. Martinez. And the reason is it's a pilot program for kindergarten and first grade, and we want them to have a curriculum to be successful, but we're not sure yet if this is the one to go with for grades 2nd through 5th, if that makes sense. So we're only implementing new programming in K and 1 this year of the 80-20 model that we're implementing.
So what if it's not successful? Are you going to buy another curriculum?
I think it's going to allow us time to iron out if there are things that are not successful about it. A curriculum is really a tool for teachers, and oftentimes It's a scope and sequence for them. It does not ever provide the end-all, be-all for teachers, as you know. Teachers have so much else that they lend to curriculum. But we only planned on rolling out the 80-20 program with the kindergarten and first grade. So that's why we purchased for those particular grades, so that they could get trained on that and actually experience it. We want the input and the voices from teachers that are teaching it in the classroom. We absolutely do. This is a co-program with Wonders, and the ability to adopt this curriculum is going to create an incredible amount of teacher efficacy, because they'll be working with the same curriculum in English literacy in those classrooms that they will be working with in the bilingual classrooms. This will allow for our teachers to collaborate like they have not been able to do before. Bilingual teachers often have the complaint of feeling isolated, and I think with purchasing in the same vein, with the same curriculum, I expect that we'll be successful with this, but we also wanted to introduce it slowly, as we are with the 80-20 program.
I understand. It's just that if I were a kindergarten teacher and I knew that all eyes were on me to make the biliteracy program be successful, I would want to know what curriculum was going to be offered and have a say, and to make sure that it aligns with what the state and the district expects of me. And so that is my concern, is that you don't have any kindergarten or first grade biliteracy and teachers, and yet you're telling them, I expect you to be successful, because if not, the biliteracy program is in jeopardy. And
We are
that's
not-
the way I see it.
Yeah.
Because right now, we're at a stage in this district, I feel that biliteracy is on a limbo. And so if we're gonna be experimenting with a curriculum that doesn't offer us, like, if you can't prove to us, you know what, this Maravillas has worked successfully in this district, and you're telling us as kindergarten teachers and first grade teachers, you have to be successful in it, what do we have to back it up? We didn't even have a choice. You know what I'm saying?
I understand what you're saying. I understand
And
what
so
you're
that
saying.
is my concern.
Yeah, it is a pilot program. So I mean, I can't answer the question that you're asking, why kinder and first grade students weren't involved. I was not on that committee. But I can speak to the fact that we fully intend to adopt this program because of the research that's been done on it and the success that they have had. And again, the bilingual teachers are not, I can guarantee they're not depending on a curriculum for their success. It's their instruction in the classroom, and they're a dynamic set of teachers that we have in place right now who are posited for support from our bilingual coach that we have that's serving those teachers. We've purchased Estudio in order to make sure they have foundational skills to be successful in a program like Maravillas. So we're doing everything we possibly can because we want that success just as much as the teachers do. Because reading in Spanish is only going to help them learn eventually how to read in English. And that's the goal of the program. So with that being said, I can't answer your question as to the committee members.
I had another question. I know that you said that you're going to implement Maravillas for K through 1, and then Wonders from 3 to 5, and biliteracy, I guess, 2nd to 5th grade is going to be using Benchmark Adelante. Does Benchmark Adelante right now prepare our students, just that curriculum, for 3rd grade?
It's aligned with the Common Core, and it has the ability to do that. But the intention is not to have them, they're only using the existing programming until they actually put the 80-20 model into place. As you probably already know, it's a gradual work in progress. So K1 is implemented as a pilot this year. 2-3 will be implemented next year, 3-4 the following year. So as they move forward and adopt that 80-20 model, they will also adopt the new curriculum so that they can work with the teachers beneath them and the teachers ahead of them. We want them to be as successful and as collaborative as possible.
My question is because I have talked to a 2nd grade bilingual teacher, and what I got from that conversation was, at first, it's not really correlating with super kids. 'Cause you're saying super kids, but with the biliteracy it doesn't, and they use more than one curriculum, I guess, to complement it. And I saw those books, and to me it's like, really, if we don't have a curriculum that is comprehensive and you have to use alternative curriculums, then why are we spending so much money on it? My concern with it, with not being rolled out, I understand you're piloting it for kindergarten first, but second grade, if we're doing a gradual program, but they're still doing benchmark adelante. My concern is that my son's in second grade, and I want to make sure that he doesn't fall through the cracks when he gets to third grade and he goes to Maravillas next year, because he doesn't have that phonetic, or he didn't get to work with that curriculum. And so is there a way that second grade could be, Maravillas could be added as a pilot this year, so that next year, when you do roll out third grade, that those students aren't just left in the middle?
Perhaps if I answer as to why these programs are implemented the way they are typically, it might help you with your question. Typically with an 80-20 program, that means 80% of the time is in Spanish, 20 is in English. So what happens is that at the K and first level, they're getting science and social studies and math in Spanish. And so a district will typically roll out one grade level at a time, because they're starting with kinder, and those kids get that Spanish. When they move on to first, they'll have that Spanish to have those content areas in Spanish as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so doing K1, we have the ability to have those kids ready for 2-3 when they have more Spanish incorporated in their day. So that's why it's rolled out slowly like that. Typically, it's one grade at a time. The Center for Applied Linguistics would have recommended that we go with just kinder. But actually going with kinder and first is really logical, because in kinder you don't get growth. You don't get to see that growth, but you'll see it from the K1 level. So that's kind of how it's rolled out. So your son, who's in a biliteracy program, an existing model that we had in place before, it's a different story. I think those are going to be conversations possibly to have with his teacher, but we are supporting the biliteracy classrooms to make sure that kids don't fall through the cracks and are reading in either Spanish or English at this time.
Okay, I'm just wondering, because beside it, that my son's in it, but I know that from second grade, I'm sorry. But from second grade to third grade, to me, it's one of the most crucial leaps, because if by third grade they don't know how to read either in Spanish or English at grade level, then it's really hard for them to catch up. And so if right now that curriculum that they're using right now, Adelante, benchmark Adelante, and again, I only spoke to one teacher, but if she said that that she has to use additional curriculum, additional, resources, then what worries me is that some students once they get to third grade, they won't be either reading in Spanish because benchmark Adelante is missing some of the components, or it doesn't align with super kids, and super kids, the teachers aren't getting the appropriate training. I mean, if you go into the PD and you're telling the teachers, go and see what second grade English is doing, well, you're not going to be teaching super kids, so why should you be going there? And so I am very concerned that the second graders, if they don't have any of this curriculum, either Maravillas or Wonders, is going to fall through the cracks. And so next year in third grade, it's going to be really hard for them to catch up.
And I am concerned for you if you're saying that about your son, for sure. And those are conversations to have with his teacher. And if his teacher needs supports, that's what administration and the coaches are in place for and to do, because again, curriculum is a tool. It's really about the first instruction in that classroom and that foundational instruction. So as a district, I think that's what Adams 14 is working on improving, right? I can assure you, though, that this district is rich with curriculum. we need to know how to use it wisely, and we need to support the teachers that you're mentioning with that process. That's really more what it's about than it is the curriculum. So if I would actually have a conversation with that teacher if you're concerned about where your son is, so that that can ripple the effect. If that teacher is not able to support him the way he needs to be supported, we need to know that. and
But
be
it's
able to
not
help.
just my son, though. It's all of the second graders and all of the 7 elementary schools. And, I mean, I'm sorry, if this teacher comes up to me and tells me I am not getting the training I need, I'm being asked to go to a training and learn what someone else is going to be teaching, but I'm not going to be teaching it. To me, it's like, well, how are we providing them with the resources? How are we, it's not just the teacher. You can't just give it, I guess you can, give them a curriculum and say, here, apply it.
Right.
But you have to have that training. If our teachers aren't getting training,
Yeah. We certainly have training in place. We have lots of training in place.
So also, one of the things that we're putting in to effect this year is a much more, I would say, granular data process system, so that every child, in every classroom, will know routinely, every 4 to 6 weeks,
Patty,
sorry.
can you please speak in the
it-
mic so we can get this on the record? Thank you.
What was the?
Say it
Speak
into the mic.
Okay.
please.
So we will put in data processes that I would say are much more granular. Every classroom, every student, we will know exactly how they're doing every 6 weeks. So it is my hope and my intention that no child will fall behind, that interventions or a better curriculum is put into place before that happens to your son or anyone's son or daughter, because that's exactly what we do not want to have happen, is for any child to fall backwards, but only to accelerate in their learning. So we believe that we will track them much more closely than we ever have previously. I do agree that teachers need the best resources in their hands so that they can provide the best instruction to all children. Absolutely. A very valid point.
Dominic?
Thank you. Ms. Montgomery, I'm just curious, or whoever can answer it, you had mentioned that the tracking will improve through this curriculum.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just curious, because I think that is really important in terms of allowing for quicker interventions when you're seeing issues.
Absolutely.
But how will that actually occur? Are we talking about them being assessed that much?
So, good question. They won't be assessed any more than what we've been assessed in the past 2 years. It's just that it's my belief that we haven't examined it in a way that allowed for those quick discoveries of what are the instructional strategies we need to use, what are those interventions we need to get that child into, what PD do we need to provide the teachers on the spot so they know how to prevent that.
Thank you.
Connie, you could ask.
Oh, yeah, I just want to know on the preparation for the curriculum, how many parents were involved to pick wonders?
2 parents.
Just 2
2
parents
parents,
came?
yes.
Out of the whole District
Out of
14?
the whole district, as well as
Ms. Martinez was
Ms.
there.
Martinez.
So she was
but I
one-
wasn't given a
But she
choice.
wasn't given, yeah.
Okay. So then, how did you come about, it was basically the teachers who picked wonders?
So there were 2 parents, a number of teachers, as you can see in
Do you know
grades
how
3, 4,
many
and 5.
teachers?
I think there were about 19 teachers, I believe, and that includes instructional coaches and then a couple of administrators, so a principal and assistant principal, and 2 parents. We did have another parent that was supposed to come, and she wasn't able to come, and she was from an elementary school.
Okay.
She had an emergency.
I just want to make sure that everybody had a chance to view the curriculum. So when they come up and say, well, we didn't get a voice in that, but I want to make sure that it was there for them.
Yes.
And I'm kind of with what Laura was saying. I'm concerned. I want to make sure that the kinders and the first graders get the same prep going on into this curriculum, because if they don't, I'm not a teacher, but, I've worked in them long enough, but I know they have to get it within those first initial grades.
Yeah.
they have to learn how the phonics and all that by at least third grade. If not, it's like Laura was saying, they kind of fall through the cracks. And I've seen kids, I've tutored kids, when they left the elementary programs, school grades, when they went up to the middle schools, they fell through the cracks because they would come back and visit me. So I'm very concerned about, if they can read, they're going to make it. And that's been one, I know a couple of us on here for years have talked about the reading curriculum and making sure these kids can read, because that will get them through life. I'm not saying the other isn't important, but I know the importance of reading. So I'm very concerned, and I'm just really glad that we're at this stage now, because I've been doing this for 7 years now. And I think I only saw curriculum one time come through us in all those years.
So we'll take your concern under consideration, because I understand what you're saying in terms of wanting some consistent curriculum, especially at grade 2, if you're already doing it in K1. So we'll definitely look into that.
When
Okay?
you bring us the data, are you going to bring us the data on the pre-K and
Yes.
first, second graders too?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And I wanted to answer your first question. Greeley 6, District 11 in Colorado Springs, Westminster Schools, and Denver Public Schools.
Okay. Mr. Rolla has a,
My question is, how committed are you to this program? And the reason I say that is because I've been up here 8 years and I've taught 36 years. And every time they come up with a new curriculum, and we're worse than the Denver Broncos in giving head coaches a chance to prove themselves. We go 1 or 2 years and then we say, well, we're coming in with something new. So my question is, if I don't know how much money we're putting into it, but I think if we're going to use this, we should be committed to staying with this. And I don't know, what is your plan on being committed to this curriculum?
So we are very much committed to this program, because I understand what you're saying when Eileen says that we're rich in curriculum. We have curriculum all over the place in the district, and so we need to have one curriculum that is truly aligned so that kids can be successful in school. So we're looking at a 6-year program with this curriculum and on. So we'll always go back and reassess the curriculum if it's not working after the 6 years, but so far it's going to be 6 years.
that sounds like good.
I guess I just want to make sure that you do actually commit to those 6 years, because earlier when I asked you what happens if K21 is not successful, you said, what I heard, I don't know if that's exactly what you said, but what I heard was that you were going to look into another curriculum. And I want to make sure that we're not just spending money left and right on new curriculums, because I know that's happened in the past and I've seen it. And so I want to make sure that if the reason we chose Wonders is because we know for a fact that it has been successful. It's been successful at DPS, it's been successful at Westminster, and we can make it successful here. And I know you said that curriculum is not what makes a teacher. However, if we can provide them with the best resources, especially for this amount of money, I expect good results. And so, like I said, for me as a kindergarten teacher, first grade teacher, if I was a teacher, which I'm not, thank God, but if I was, I would be very upset. The fact that there's not one kindergarten or first grade teacher to say, you know what, Maravillas is actually really great because it's going to work with what we're teaching, and so to me, that's a disappointment. Another thing I do want to bring up first is that I was under the wrong impression with the Facebook post, maybe I read it wrong, that we were going to choose which one we wanted between Wonders and the other programming. However, Wonders was already recommended the week before. So then my question is, why did you even present the other program, the other curriculum, if you already knew that Wonders was recommended?
So we wanted to, it was the recommended curriculum from the committee, but we also wanted to have other voices in the room in terms of what curriculum they would like. When we first did this process, we had, let me see. When we first did this process, Into Reading and Wonders was pretty close. And then after everyone had come back to reassess and talk about it, and to look at, just have conversations around it, that's when Wonders moved further ahead. But in our policy, it talks about doing a public review of the curriculum, and that's what the public review was at that time. And so we had the process on the 9th to make sure that we could get teachers in to look at the curriculum and still try to have a public review where they could give some input as well. But it was the recommended curriculum by the committee.
Okay, then I apologize, Another question, just quick, is there a possibility that the second grade or bilingual teachers can at least get a preview of Maravillas in second grade so they have an idea and they make sure that at least they're preparing for next year when you do roll it out in second grade instead of them just being blinded?
Absolutely.
I would really like that, just so that they have another resource and they're able to start, working into that curriculum for second
We will
grade.
definitely invite them in to see the curriculum.
Okay, Mr. Thomas.
This is for Dr. Bull and Dr. Rango. Could you please provide the BOU with the K through 12 instructional curriculum, what we doing in the district? Because I'm hearing so much this, and this. So I'd like for y'all to provide us with, even my, the preschoolers, what they doing, what they teaching them. But kindergartens, what curriculum they on, what literacy, what math they on, first grade, second grade. If it's by literacy, I would like to see a chart, not necessarily words that this and this. I would like to see it go over, if it's a third grade to fifth and you teaching this curriculum. I like to see what math, what literacy program we are doing throughout the district, because I like to see that, please. Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Patterson.
I just had one. Can you just confirm? You said next year you're planning on rolling it out second and third grade, right?
Yes.
Maravillas?
Yes.
That was it.
Okay, last one, Dr. Bull.
So, Mr. Thomas, in part, in response to your question, our intent here with the selection or the recommendation. Sorry. You're good.
You got to answer it too.
By the way, just for the record, that was me singing, okay?
Okay.
So our intent with bringing this recommendation to you this evening is to start to address, I believe, the question that you are asking. And that is for the Adams 14 School District to move to an alignment of curriculum across, in this instance, 7 elementary schools. The expectation is, with the arrival of this curriculum, it will be taught with fidelity grades K through 5 in the 7 elementary schools inside of this district. We will put together for you the chart that you're requesting. I will caution you in advance, I believe what you will find is what we have found, and that is that absent this alignment in the K-5 literacy curriculum, you will find that curricula across this district depends on school. And one of the things that we believe we need to address is to move towards an alignment of quality curriculum across the schools. Our second focus is going to be a focus on mathematics. All of you saw the mathematics performance. We need to move in a similar direction with mathematics. Please don't hear me recommending any curriculum at all, other than to say that I believe that we need to move towards that alignment, and we are going to have to address similar alignment in English language arts at the middle level, math at the middle level, and science at the middle level. I'm not excluding high school, but high school starts to move in a direction of being more discipline specific. So you have algebra, you have geometry, you have algebra 2. But that is the efforts that we're bringing forward as we begin our work here in Adams 14. One of the limitations that we're going to have to discuss with you as a board is going to be the cost associated with curriculum purchases and the ability or the decisions associated with the rate at which you're implementing that curriculum, in particular at the elementary level where you have elementary teachers who teach it all. So as an example, if we brought in with this recommendation, the literacy curriculum, if we were to mirror that with a math curriculum, then what you would have are elementary teachers having to learn two brand-new curriculums at the same time. When you get to the secondary level, you have teachers who specialize, so you have English teachers at middle, you have math teachers. You could conceivably implement yet again another curriculum, but we want to be respectful of the board policy and processes associated with the curriculum selection and subsequent recommendation. But we will get you that chart. I just want to caution you in advance as to what I think that you will discover, which I'm not guessing your intent, but my suspicion is your question is getting at exactly that point.
Yes, Dr. Bull. Yes, it is.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And that will end our study session at 7:02. And then give us a break, a few minutes, and then we'll go into the regular board meeting. Thank you.
What? I know. I didn't even bring gum to keep me awake. Huh? Says the guy that answers the phone during a study.
Was it Daisy?
Actually, that's actually Chuck's.
I think I just remembered the first name.
Probably the car you're telling us about. When you let's take a moment of silence to say, put love outside. Well, everybody, I can't walk. Is it true? Is it true? They're closing it down. Huh?
Okay.
I don't know
Got
the
it.
owners.
Okay.
Sold it to.
I'd like to start the regular board meeting at 7:10 on August 27th, 2019. And I'd like to have the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence. And please remember, in the moment of silence, Daisy Munoz Rocha that passed away at Lester Arnold. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Monica, roll call, please.
Ms. Martinez?
Here.
Mr. Moreno?
Here.
Mrs. Quintana?
Here.
Mr. Rolla?
Here.
Mr. Thomas?
Here.
I'd like to have a motion for the approval of the minutes for August 13th, 2019.
Madam Chair, I move to approve the meeting minutes of August 13th, 2019.
May I have a second?
Madam Chair, I second.
Discussion? Seeing none, roll call, Monica?
Ms. Martinez? Mr. Moreno?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
I'd like to have approval of the agenda.
Madam Chair, I move to approve the agenda as presented.
May I have a second?
Madam Chair, I second the approval of the agenda.
Discussion? Seeing none, roll call, Monica?
Ms. Martinez?
Aye. Aye.
Sorry. Mr. Moreno?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
There are no audience comments, so we're going to move on to the consent items, 1.0 through 3.7. May I have a motion?
Madam Chair, I approve the consent items from 1.0 to 3.7.
May I have a second?
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, roll call, Monica?
Ms. Martinez?
I have a quick discussion on 3.7.
So,
Madam Chair, and for the board, the only discussion that can happen on the consent agenda would be to remove an item from the consent agenda. And then if there needs to be discussion on that, it would be taken up separately from the other items on the consent agenda.
is there one you want to? Okay, she would like to pull 3.7. Oh, and 3.1. Yes, 3.1, this one here, the uniforms. Yes, the whole consent. We did,
Harvest motion was 1.0 through 3.7.
yeah, that was our, we're gonna do, yeah,
No problem. So that's fine. So 3.1.
and 3.7,
So,
we could talk about it.
yeah, so what you'll do now is you had a motion and a second to approve the
Mhm.
consent agenda. Those two items have been pulled off, so you can go ahead and take a vote on the rest of the consent agenda and then proceed directly to 3.1.
Okay,
Do it like you
okay.
normally would, and do 3.7.
Okay. So we will proceed with all the consent that I said, 1.0 through 3.7, but we're going to pull out 3.1 and 3.7. And we can vote on all the rest. So can I have a roll call, Monica?
They don't need to amend the motion. Ms. Martinez?
Aye.
Mr. Moreno?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
So we'd like to go back and talk about 3.1. Motion. So a motion to talk about 3.1, may I have?
Madam Chair, I move for the approval of item 3.1.
May I have a second?
Madam Chair, I second. 3.1.
Discussion.
Yes.
Okay.
We talked about the band.
The uniforms.
Yes.
Is there anybody here from the high school? No, so,
Well,
I was going to ask him to come up and
okay,
question, and then we'll get a response
Okay.
back. Yes.
My question is, on the uniforms, we got a copy. Monica, can you pull that uniform up on the screen, please?
I shut down, but yeah.
One of the questions we have,
You can take it. Yeah. My question is, there's no AC on there, Adam City, and on the back there's plain like have Eagles. Because I do remember the Historical Society coming in front of
Yep.
us complaining about A but no C, but the uniforms don't have either.
anything on it.
So my question is, can we get the A and the C on there and Eagles on the back of the uniforms?
Absolutely. We can take care of that. We should be Eagle proud.
Always.
So, yes.
Yeah, because it should be AC Eagles.
What if that increases the price?
I think
Can't
we'll have to
promise
look
that.
into that. Right now, the picture I'm looking at, and I'll just turn it and show it to the rest of you, doesn't have anything
Nothing on it.
indicating it's Adams City High School
No,
on the uniform, so I will look into that.
and because I think we would like to have, stay in with the history of the Adams City Eagles, there's always AC and Eagles. And it's been that way forever.
That's not going to be cost.
I don't know, but this is what they sent us, so we just want to make sure that that's what they put on it.
I honestly don't believe putting those items on the uniforms is going to be cost prohibitive. It's not
Right.
going to be overly expensive. I mean, it could have a cost to it, but I don't think it's going to be cost prohibitive. Am I wrong about that, Dr. Bull?
Madam Chair, my suggestion would be that you take a vote on this resolution as is, and then we would bring back a redesign with a cost associated with that at our next board meeting, which would be the first board meeting in September. It's about 2 weeks, and I'm not sure that a 2-week time frame is going to make or break the order or the arrival time. And that way, as a board, I think it's important for you to feel comfortable with the design as you would like for it to be ordered. That would be my recommendation. I would hate for you to move forward with an approval of a cost that may or may not be reflective of the actual cost associated with the order.
I agree with what you're saying, but I want them to understand, I think the board is in agreement with this. They must have the AC Eagles.
Madam Chair, and so my expectation communicated to the school would be that you see a design that is reflective of your desires to have AC on the front and Eagles across the back, and that the design would be reflective of that.
Okay.
I guess the question I have is, they've shown us 2 uniforms. Are we supposed to make a decision on which one we want, or are they going to make a decision? You have one that has a draped right shoulder, and then on the other one, it's an orange shoulder. So I don't know
That's
why
the
they showed
back.
us that.
I think that's the back, Mr. Rolla, where you
Yeah,
see
but
the
on
orange
both
on the back.
backs?
Yeah.
So to clarify, the picture on the left, as I understand it, with the draping across the back, is the conductor's uniform, and the uniforms on the right, absent that draping, would be the band member uniforms. It's
The one with the orange.
Yes, the intent there is to distinguish the role of the drum major,
Okay.
or drum majors.
Okay. As long as they have AC Eagles. Mr.
Okay.
Moreno?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'll just say that fully in agreement with the AC Eagles being added, and With that caveat, the uniforms look really sharp.
Mhm. Okay.
So, do we know how long it's gonna take to make these uniforms? Because I think the only time they really use the uniforms are on the football games and the parade, homecoming parade, and memorial
Yeah.
parade.
So my understanding is the estimated arrival time for these uniforms would be sometime in the spring. So we'll need to, yes, spring of next year. So these uniforms would be available for the band in the fall of '20. So again, I think given the time associated with ordering and taking receipt of a 2-week window to have you presented with a mock-up including the AC and the eagles across the back is not unreasonable.
Okay. Are we okay? Can we, so do we vote on that now?
We do.
Then, okay, so, Monica, can we have a roll call? For
Ms.
3.1?
Martinez?
Aye.
Mr. Moreno?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
Moving on to 3.7. May I have a motion for the approval of the purchase of Reading Wonders from McGraw-Hill?
Madam Chair, I move the approval of item 3.7.
May I have a second?
Madam Chair, I second item 3.7.
And discussion.
I think more than questions, 'cause you did a pretty good job in answering them. I just want to make sure that with the approval of this curriculum, we make sure that the second grade teachers in those 4 schools, in Camp, DuPont, Hanson, and Central, at least get a preview of the second grade curriculum so that next year when they get it and it rolls out, they're better prepared for it. And then also I want to make sure that the district is actually committed to work with Maravillas and make it work. And I don't want to hear later that, oh, it didn't work, so we're going to have to take it out. I want to make sure that you are 100% satisfied and confident that this curriculum, both Maravillas and Wonders, is going to work. Because if you're not 100%, not just very confident, but 100%, 1,000 possibly %, then I expect the teachers at all grade levels to get the training that they need and that the support is there. And I don't want to hear in 2-3 years, oh, it's not working, so we're going to change curriculum. I'm confident, I'm trusting in the department that you are going to make this successful.
We will make this successful, and we will be contacting those teachers tomorrow to make sure that they have an opportunity to look at second grade level Maravillas.
Okay, and also I want to see any data or information that has proven success in local state districts. You said, what I heard was that it was implemented in Westminster and TPS. If I can get some information and data of a success rate of Maravillas and Wonder in all grade levels, if possible, that would be great. And one more thing is if you can guarantee that it will roll out second and third grade, that Maravillas will roll out next year, second and third grade. And again, that you will provide adequate training for the teachers instead of just sending them wherever.
Okay. We will make sure that the teachers are trained, and we'll get the data to you.
Okay.
Dr. Patterson, could you also send all the board information on the Wonders program so we can have it in front of us, and along with the one that Ms. Martinez was saying?
Sure. Yes, we'll
So
get
we're heads up on it.
information to you.
Okay, thank
And
you.
again, if you can also just provide examples of how it aligns with each core, that'd be great.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair, may I?
Yes, go ahead.
Dr. Patterson, I would ask that you provide the board members with their own copy of both the Super Kids and the Wonders curriculum so that they have an opportunity to receive both in their packaged format so that they can open and familiarize themselves with the curriculum as the teachers are starting to learn that. I would appreciate that.
And sorry, I don't know if this is too much chess, but
No, that's okay.
benchmark adelante too, because I want to see how Maravillas is going to actually be better and more comprehensive than benchmark adelante.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
May I have roll call, Monica? No, we just did it.
Ms. Martinez?
Aye.
Mr. Moreno?
Aye.
Mrs. Quintana?
Aye.
Mr. Rolla?
Aye.
Mr. Thomas?
Aye.
Moving on to communications. One of the things we need to discuss is the spaghetti dinner is on the 7th. And Monica already ordered the ice cream, so we have time slots to sign up for.
I go first.
I go first.
All right.
No.
well, Ladies first, go ahead.
Really?
Sure. I'll take second.
Okay. And then Thomas wants second. We have 6:30 to 7:30 is the third slot, and 7:30 to 8:30 is the fourth. Or you could join us up throughout the whole thing.
I'm going to do my best to stop by. Unfortunately, I have a wedding that evening, so.
You do.
I'll
Okay.
cover for Dominic.
As
I'll be
usual,
there the
thank
whole
you, Mr.
time,
Rolla.
so.
Okay.
And I'll eat his ice cream.
Oh, really? And actually, the spaghetti dinner's pretty good, guys. You know, it's like, I think if I'm correct, Monica, it's all you can eat.
Yeah.
You can keep going back for more. And it's put on by the fire department, so it's their way of raising funds. So it's really beneficial for anybody else who wants to come in. They also have takeout, I understand. It's done, isn't it like from 2 o'clock to 4?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so if you don't want to eat there, you can just go in and pick up your food and take it home.
Okay, so
Dr. Bull.
what time slots are available?
And so I think that's it. Do you have anything, Ms. Martinez?
I was just trying to figure out what time I should show up at, so I wanted to see what time was available.
Whenever you want.
Okay, doesn't matter.
You could come in anywhere from, normally we're all there kind of the whole time. We go in like in shifts. So, okay, so it starts 4:30 on. It starts getting kind of busy around 5:30, I think, in there. So, Mr. Cabral, have you been there before? At the spaghetti dinner they've had here? Because it's been going on forever. Okay. That's okay. Okay, so, Ms. Martinez, do you have anything? Mr. Moreno? Mr. Rolla?
Yeah. I would like to thank Mr. Rodriguez. Can you please stand, Mr. Rodriguez? Yesterday at practice, we were going to water our field, and when we got done watering, we couldn't take off the spigot off the quick coupler. And the next thing, the head coach turns it, and he turns it too much, and all of a sudden, water's just gushing out. So we get it closed down a little bit and went to see the AD, and he called Mr. Rodriguez. And it's the first time that I've been here, whatever number of years, is Mr. Rodriguez actually went out there with his team, looked over the situation, and fixed it for us so we could continue our practice yesterday. But we went to water again today, and it got stuck again. My suggestion is maybe we ought to look into a 1-inch or a 3/4 spigot there, that, because when I was at Skyview, that's what we had, it was a 3/4. Never had problems with it. Because we have, what, 1.5 inches? I'm not sure, Yeah, I think it may be a little bit too big for for the dirt that gets in there and it causes it to stick. So that's my suggestion, but I would just like to say thank you for the promptness. We haven't had that here in quite a while.
Thank you. Mr. Thomas?
Yes, I had the opportunity to go to the Adams City High School Parents Night, and I just want to say it was a great event, and thanks Principal Gabriella Maldonado, Ms. Jeffers, Dr. Laura Ovelius, Fox, Ms. Fox, and Mr. Ritchie. They did an outstanding job, and it was very crowded and had a great time. So I just want to say thank you so much for their support.
Thank you.
But I left it for you.
And that, okay, that will conclude our meeting at 7:31. Thank you all for coming.